All right, let's try this one more time. Welcome everyone to the weekly live Q&A session. If this is the first time we're meeting, my name is Oliver, and on this channel, as mentioned, we talk about education and early career development in Finland. And during these weekly live Q&As, I answer your most burning questions about studying, living, and working in Finland. And how these work is that I have a Google form in the description box below. And if you have any questions that you would like me to answer live, please post your questions below in the description box. For some reason, we've had some technical problems with the live stream. For some reason, the live chat wasn't working. So let's try, at least apparently, it seems to be working fine right now. Cool. Let's jump right into the questions. Again, hey Yevgenia, hey Chetan. Chetan is saying that I'm unsubscribing your channel. That's fine. If you feel like unsubscribing the channel, that's completely fine. The reasons don't matter. You don't have to be a member of the community. But once again, if you're just joining the stream, there's a link to a Google form in the description box below. And if you want me to answer your questions live, please post your question there so that I will have them on my computer here in front of me. And I will be able to answer your questions in a first come, first serve basis. Great. While we're waiting for people to actually jump into the stream, let's start with the questions from last week. A couple of questions that were left over from last week. The first one came from, actually before we do that, Pavia, awesome to have you here as well, saying that, hey, it's finally working. Great. So apparently the live chat is now working. For some reason, YouTube didn't allow me to change the settings for the live stream. So, well, fancy that. Anyways, the first question comes from Nikhil, who comes from India and is applying to study a master's in mining engineering. Cool. At Aalto University in the next application period. And the question is, how about internships or research assistant positions at Aalto University or any other university in Finland? That's actually a great question. Basically, the answer is pretty simple here. There are plenty of internships, not necessarily internships, but there's plenty of research assistant positions at Finnish universities. Basically, most of the research assistant jobs, as I've understood it, is basically helping the professors set up the curriculum and helping with running courses, correcting essays, exams, etc. And they are done. Research assistant jobs are for students, and there's usually plenty of them, depending on the topic, on the courses, on the professors, etc. But there's plenty of them, and I would be very active in terms of proactive in terms of these kind of jobs. They are not usually marketed, or they're usually not advertised openly, at least not that loudly. Rather, people usually contact their professors directly and ask about these kind of jobs from them. So definitely consider asking about these kind of jobs if you're interested in working as a research assistant or course assistant. Aditya, what's up? Welcome back to the stream. My apologies for the technical difficulties we had just a while ago. The third time's the charm, I hope. So the stream seems to be working now, at least for most people, I guess. Hopefully it doesn't break down anymore today. Bhavya saying, hey Oliver, I got a call from Southern Institute of Technology in Invercargill, New Zealand, and I'm hoping to get a call from the University of Eastern Finland. Which one should I go for a master's in information technology? I have to say that I'm not familiar with the Southern Institute of Technology in Invercargill in New Zealand. I have not studied myself at the Eastern Finland, University of Eastern Finland. For Christ's sake. Eastern University of Eastern Finland. What is wrong with me? I have not studied there myself. My brother actually has done his master's and his PhD there, and he has enjoyed it quite a lot. But I would say that you need to make this choice on your own. Remember that it's not only about your studies are not only about the university itself and the, for example, the international rankings. Again, I'm not sure how to compare these in terms of rankings. What I can say is that I would love to live in New Zealand at least for a few years. It's a bit of a dream for me to actually live there at least for a while. So remember that it's not all about the university. It's also about the experience. It's also about what you want to do. Of course, you have to remember that New Zealand, if you want to work there, it's quite far from anywhere else. So if you, for example, if you don't find a job there, then you would need to move to, for example, Asia or to the United States to work. However, I'm pretty sure that after you get a master's in IT, you will be able to find a job in New Zealand as well, because it's a large market in itself as well. I would say that it's your decision. I don't want to really put your mind anywhere. Of course, I would always love if you guys came to Finland, but to be honest, I would want to experience New Zealand, living there. To be honest, I actually applied to a university in New Zealand for an exchange period, but I didn't get in because they had so few spots, and a friend of mine got to go there. Again, it's impossible for me to say which place I like more, New Zealand or Finland, because I've never been to New Zealand myself, but it's on my bucket list that I really want to live there at some point. Anyways, the next question from the form comes from Rish from India, who is going to apply for a master's in data sciences at any university in Finland that has those kind of programs. The question is, hey Oliver, I recently finished all the application processes from applying to submitting all my documents. It was a hasty one because I applied to almost every university in Finland, hoping to get admitted and start my studies this autumn. Fingers crossed, definitely. So my question is that I want to know more about the word Sisu. Oh, actually, we got this last week. So I spoke shortly about Sisu and the meaning of the term for Finnish people. So Sisu is basically a Finnish term meaning courage or grit or being able to go through, rock, how do you say? Being able to go through a hard place whenever you get any kind of blocks, or how do you say, what is this word that I'm looking for? Whenever you face obstacles, you're able to go through them using Sisu, this mental state. But I won't talk about that too much now because I already spoke about it at length last week. The next question also comes from Rish, and this time it's I will do a PG diploma in international business. So will it be worth for doing a degree in human resources? And may I get a job after completing this? Moreover, will I be able to get a part-time job or not? Moreover, will I be able to get a part-time job to pay for my day-to-day expenses? Had to reconstruct the question. So I do not know what a PG diploma is, so you would need to explain that to me at length. But if your question is about human resources or recruiting HR in general, HR is a very important part of any kind of a business. And I actually used to work in a HR company, and the HR market in Finland was growing quite rapidly before COVID hit because the Finnish market was growing. So the HR market basically goes hand in hand with the overall market. When the market grows and companies grow, they need more people. That means that the HR market is going to grow as well. again, to your question about whether or not you're able to get a job after completing a degree, I cannot say this. It's all up to you. What I like to say is that even if you have a degree from Harvard, that will not guarantee you a job if you don't know what you're doing. So getting a degree in itself is not the key for happiness. You need to know what you're doing. You need to be able to network with professionals in your field and to be able to actually build a career from zero. So cannot promise you anything. In terms of part-time jobs during your studies, if you need to pay tuition fee, if you want to pay your tuition fee with a part-time job, that is not possible, at least unless you have a unless you already have a prior high education and a very good job. It's not possible for you to pay for your tuition and living costs with a part-time job in Finland. Unfortunately, it's not possible. The next question comes from ES. Hey Joan, what's up? Welcome back to the stream. Hope you're doing well. Anyways, the next question comes from ES, and once again, to remind everyone, ES comes from Hungary and is still in high school, but interested in doing a bachelor's in computer sciences. And he has a couple of questions. First, on a scale of 1 to 1,000, how hard is it to get into Aalto University? And what would you recommend to increase my chances? From 1 to 1,000, I would say 700, maybe. So it's not impossible, but it's hard. It's harder than average. You have to take into account that Aalto University is the #1 ranking university in Finland in the fields of technology, business, and design. Then on the other hand, the University of Helsinki is the #1 ranking university in Finland in terms of hard sciences. So it depends a bit on the program itself or the degree. Having said that, it's not easy to get into Aalto University at all. There's limited amount of spots for new students. And what I would say that since you're applying for a bachelor's, what I would say that you need to go and look at the specific application requirements for a bachelor's in IT or computer sciences and look at what requirements they have and then focus on those. There are no shortcuts. There's no tricks into this. You simply need to fulfill the minimum requirements and then add some on top of it. So for example, if the requirements if one of the requirements listed for the program that you're applying to is a high school diploma, then that means that you really need to focus on getting good high school grades. If one of the requirements is to write a motivation letter, then you really need to focus on the motivation letter and try to specifically trying to distinguish yourself from the overall pack of people or applicants that you have. The second question was, could you explain the student loan system? Because I don't understand anything that is on the official websites. That's fine. It's because it doesn't apply to you. The student loan system in Finland is only for Finnish nationals. I know that some European Union citizens can also apply for student loans, but there are only few exceptions. So the student loan system in Finland is only for Finnish nationals. So don't take that into account at all. Or Finnish national specifically. So you need to have a citizenship. The next question comes from Josh. And by the way, guys, this is actually the last question that I have in the Google form. So if you have any questions that you would like me to answer live, please post your questions into the Google form. There's not that many people here listening live. I think one of the reasons is that I had the technical problems in the beginning. So if you want to have your questions answered live, now is a really good chance of actually posting your questions into the Google form and get your question answered quickly. Anyways, the next question came from Josh from Canada. And Josh is still in high school, but is interested in doing a bachelor's in, I don't know in which field, in some field. And the comment is actually something that I will not say out loud here. So thank you, Josh, for your very polite words, but I don't require your presence on the live streams in the future. Cool. Let's see. All right. The next question comes from Kazi Nadim Hossai from Bangladesh. And Kazi is applying for a bachelor's in ERP in the Centria University of Applied Sciences. And the question is, hey Oliver, greeting of today. How are you? I'm fine. Thank you very much. Hope you're doing awesome as well. Which part-time jobs will you recommend personally in this situation for the end of this year in the city like Kokkola or, a similar city like Kokkola? It means suggest for them who are going to... suggest jobs for those who are going to start their studies in autumn 2021. Kazi, that's a really hard question for me to answer. Of course, we have to take into account that we are currently still in the middle of the COVID situation crisis, and this means that there are a bunch of jobs that do not exist that we had a year and a half ago, meaning that, for example, a lot of the jobs, part-time jobs that I usually recommend for new students, for example, in the service sector, meaning like sales clerk positions in grocery stores or convenience stores or clothing stores, working as a barista at a cafeteria or as a, bartender, these kind of stuff. These kind of companies are in a lot of trouble because they are not able to be open as much, and there's not that many part-time jobs like this currently because of the COVID situation. So I would say that I would be looking at very basic, bottom level jobs on your field. For example, you are applying to work on ERP systems, meaning that I would recommend that you start contacting different businesses, different companies that might be using specific ERP systems, and contact them and ask, do they have anything open, at the lowest level. Explain your situation, who you are, and that you would like to start your career from zero. Could, for example, mean any kind of assistant level jobs. However, on the other hand, I would also recommend, regardless of the COVID situation, especially considering that it might change, it most likely will change by the time you come here, simply print out CVs, have good walking shoes on, and start walking into every single bar, grocery store, convenience store, clothing store, cafeteria, etc. In the city and close to your university and to where you live, and introduce yourself and tell them that you're looking for a part-time job to work on alongside your studies, and say that you're open for anything, any kind of opportunities. Cool. We have more people joining in. Sorry again for everyone about the technical issues that I had before. For some reason, YouTube didn't really want to cooperate with me today, so apologies for that. First of all, Dovlat, awesome to have you here. Welcome to the stream. Dipesh, welcome back to the stream. Arthur, awesome to have you here as well. Just to let everyone know that if you have any questions that you would like me to answer live, please post your questions into the Google form that I have in the description box below. There's actually not that many questions in the form right now, so if you post your question there right now, I will be able to answer it actually pretty quickly. So just letting you know. The next question comes from Bhavya, again from India, and once again, Bhavya is applying to do a master's at Aalto University in the field of information technology / computer sciences. And the question is, I couldn't apply to Aalto University this December. When can I apply the next time? Can I apply in March? Unfortunately, no. English language master's degree applications happen once a year, and the next application period is in 1 year, basically, or 11 months. So starting in December 2021 and ending in January 2022, unless something changes. This is the latest information that I have, at least until now. The Finnish universities have had their master's degree applications only once per year. So unfortunately, you need to wait. But that's fine, because if you wait, you can then use this year to brush up your skills, start learning new coding languages, and for example, start practicing writing motivational letters and gathering more information about Finland, and preparing for the application process. In addition, you can start gathering work experience, which is awesome, because that is going to be very good for you in terms of the application for the next year. So you could, for example, work for 11 months and then apply, and you will be more valuable as an applicant, by that time. Scarlett, what's up? Welcome back to the stream. If you were here before, I do apologize for the technical difficulties that I had. As Yevgenia is saying in the stream or the live chat, there's a Google form in the description box below. So if you have any questions, please post your question into the Google form, and I will get you to your question in a first come, first serve basis. All right, let's see. The next question comes from Sumit. And the question is, Sumit is also from India and applying to study a bachelor's in nursing at the Savonia University of Applied Sciences. And the question is, I have applied to Savonia University of Applied Sciences in Kuopio. Is Kuopio a good city? Yes, it is. Kuopio is a very nice city. My girlfriend's family is from Kuopio, and my girlfriend would like us to move to Kuopio at some point. Kuopio is not that big of a city, for example, compared to Helsinki, but it's a very lovely place. It's a smaller-ish city, in the scale of Finland. But for example, if you love nature, they have lovely, things that you will enjoy as a student there. In addition, the campus, as I've understood, is actually quite nice. And the Kuopio, for example, hospital, where you might be doing some internships, is also really, really good. As it actually happens, my grandmother is also from Kuopio. So Kuopio, yeah, definitely. Kuopio is a lovely city. It's not as big as Helsinki, but it's really nice. I'm sure that you will enjoy yourself there. Cool. The next question comes from Hariram from Sri Lanka. And Hariram is interested in doing a bachelor's in engineering and technology, but does not have a university in mind. And the question is, I just wanted to know whether you can cover tuition by saving part-time income in Finland if you already have enough money covered for the first 2 years of your degree. That's a very good question, and a very good way of thinking about this. So, a quick drink. All right, so this is, again, really good question. And what Hariram is talking about here, about the first 2 years or having saved for the first 2 years of tuition before moving to Finland, is the Finnish Immigration Service, from whom you need to apply for a residence permit when you come to study in Finland. You will not allow you to work for will not allow you to cover your living costs or tuition fee during your first year of studies, simply because it's so difficult to get a part-time job, or basically impossible to get a part-time job that will cover your tuition fee and living costs as a first-year student. So basically, Hariram is asking here is that if you get a job, for example, during your first year, are you able to save enough money during the duration of 2 years so that you can actually pay for your tuition for your next third year with that part-time income? And this depends on two things. It depends on the school and the level of tuition, or the amount of tuition fee that you need to pay. You have to remember that you need to pay the full tuition for the next academic year before the previous academic year has ended. So you have to pay the tuition beforehand, meaning that you need to have the tuition fee for the next year already together on your account before the next academic year starts. So this is kind of the context. So depends on how high the tuition fee is, of course. And then secondly, it depends on your living habits and your, normal living expenses. However, I would have to do the math on this, but I can say pretty comfortably that you will be, if you do just a bachelor's, so that means 3 to 4 years, you will most likely be able to save enough money in 2 years to pay for your tuition for the third. And then, of course, if you work during the third year as well, you will be able to accumulate even more money to pay for your fourth year if you're doing a fourth year as well. So I would say that yes, however, you need to get a job as soon as possible when you come to Finland. So, and of course, you need to keep a really close eye on your financials, on how much you're spending, how much you're getting, income, and think about everything that you spend on very critically in terms of, can I do this and still save enough money for the tuition? But yeah, I think that's a good enough answer here. The next question comes from Dovlat from Russia. And Dovlat is still in high school, but interested in doing a bachelor's in engineering at Aalto University. And the question is, hey, Oliver, hey, what's up? Do you know how many scholarships Aalto University provides per faculty? Unfortunately, no. This is not public information. So I have no insider information about this. The universities in Finland do not have to publicize this information. What I do know, or what is my understanding, is that the amount of scholarships varies from year to year. So unfortunately, I do not know. What I can say is that they're not easy to get. So in your case, for example, since you're still in high school, I would really recommend that you put a lot of effort into your final year or final 2 years, for example, and try to get as good grades as possible for your high school diploma. In addition, Dovlat, what I would like to note to you is that the Russian Federation or the Russian government actually has specific scholarships available for Russian citizens studying in Finland. I don't remember the specifics, but please check out the website from the Russian Ministry of Education, I think, or just Google in Russian scholarships for studying in Finland. And you might find more information about this. This will most likely help you quite a lot in terms of you paying for your tuition. The next question comes from, and I'm sorry for already butchering your name, Erai Kaliskan. Erai Kaliskan. I'm not sure how to pronounce the C and the S in your case, but hopefully I'm close enough. Erai comes from Cyprus, and Erai is applying to do a master's in education at the University of Helsinki. And the question is, does the Finnish government or the University of Helsinki offer scholarships or loans for EU citizens who do not have enough financial support for their studies? Unfortunately, no. The Finnish government nor does not, give any kind of financial support for European Union citizens. And on top of that, European Union citizens who do not have to pay tuition, so basically any European Union citizen, you are not allowed to apply for university scholarships in Finland, because those are only for students who have to pay tuition, i.e. non-European Union / non-European Economic Area citizens. That includes Switzerland as well. So unfortunately not. Do take into account that as a European Union citizen, you do not have to pay tuition. So you only have to take care of your day-to-day living costs. So that meaning your rent, food, travel costs, etc. And that means that the minimum requirement from the Finnish Immigration Service is that you need to have at least 560 euros per month for living costs in order you to get a residence permit. However, my recommendation is that if you come to Helsinki, you should have at least around 700-800 euros per month. You don't necessarily have to have that much, but if you have around 700 euros per month, you will be able to do, a bit of traveling. You can actually go out once in a while, and you don't have to worry about, being able to pay rent the next month. 560 euros is that will be very tight if you live in Helsinki. Nihal saying that nice hat. Thank you. I'm having a very bad hair day, and I had to put this on so that I don't look like an absolute troll. I appreciate it. I guess that might have been sarcasm as well. If it is, I do accept it because I do share the sentiment. Anyway, the next question comes from Gregory from Russia. And Gregory is applying for a bachelor's in international business. And the question is how to live on when you accidentally failed an exam. You just keep living on. In Finnish universities, you don't just have one, chance of doing an exam. We usually have at minimum 3 goes at a course exam. So if you fail your exam once, you can redo it in a few weeks. If you fail it twice, some universities allow you to do it on the third, allow you to take it the third time. But then if you fail it the third time as well, then you have to retake the entire course. So, but that doesn't, that's no problem. During my university studies, I had to retake a couple of courses during, the 7 years, and that's fine. There's no penalties for that. It just means that you need to, redo all the the assignments, etc. You need to go to the lectures, etc. So, but yeah, we don't punish anyone for failing an exam. You can always redo them. Of course, you have to remember that in order for you to keep your residence permit, so that you can stay in Finland, you need to be able to complete at least 45 credits per academic year, as a Russian citizen. But yeah, if you fail an exam, that's fine. Redo it. Erai, you're welcome. Hopefully that gave you just a bit of context. I'm sorry for not being able to help you anymore in that sense. But of course, in your case, since you're an EU citizen, you might be able to get a part-time job, and not because you are an EU citizen, but what helps you a bit is that as a European Union citizen, you are actually allowed to work in Finland as a student without any kind of restriction. So that means that you don't have a maximum you don't have a maximum number of hours that you can work per month. On the other hand, non-EU citizens can only work on average 25 hours per week while they're studying. So if and when you come to Finland to study, you're gonna try to get a part-time job, and that might at least help you with your living costs, at least in the long term. Of course, make sure that you don't burn out by both working and studying at the same time, because it's a real issue. The next question comes from Juan Vasquez. Welcome, Juan, back to the stream. Awesome to have the regulars coming back to the streams every week. And Juan is from Mexico, and Juan is applying to study a master's in computer sciences and engineering at the University of Oulu. And the question is there any health benefits for students in Finland besides the health insurance required by the residence permit? Yes, there are. Great question. So what I recommend you to do is to go on my channel and just let me share the screen. Go on the channel and look for health, and you will see this video, so student healthcare services in Finland explained. In this video, I break down the different healthcare services that we have in Finland for university students. So actually, Finnish university students after the Second World War, they founded a private healthcare service that is just for university students in Finland, and it's freaking cheap. It's cheap as F. It's really high quality, and you can enjoy these healthcare benefits around, basically anywhere you are in Finland. And what you need to do in order to enjoy the services is you need to pay your student union fee, which is 100 euros per academic year. So it's basically nothing. So the service is called FSHS, Finnish Student Health Service. And it's really, really cool because they have a lot of different health services that are free. Again, you need to pay the 100 euro payment per academic year. However, then some of the services that they have a payment for are extremely cheap. So if you look at the different services, you have, basic health examinations, you have specific appointment services, I'll go into these, laboratory examinations, imaging, certificates and statements, birth control and sexual health, important as well. Vaccinations are also done through FSHS. And if you look at, for example, the appointment services, we have, nurses, psychiatric nurses, physiotherapists, general practitioners, dermatologists, oral hygienists, dentists, psychologists, etc. And if we actually look at the prices for the services, excuse me. Whoops, nope. Let's see. No, that's not there. My bad. Let's see, where did we have the prices? Let's see, where can we see the prices? That's weird. That's really weird. Where did we have the prices? Just a moment. I'm trying to find them. Never mind, I can't find them, but they're extremely cheap. For example, what I do remember is that, for example, a 25-minute booking for a oral specialist, so basically a specialist dentist, is 25 euros, which is insanely cheap. If you go to the private market or a private healthcare practitioner and do things to your teeth, that could be hundreds of euros per appointment. It's not as expensive as for example in the US, but it's 1/5, 1/6 of the price when you use it through FSHS. So really good question. Faisal, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Just Roman, also welcome to the stream as well. We have Aruna, welcome to the stream as well. Guys, if you have any questions, how we usually do these streams is that I have a Google form in the description box below. So if you have any questions that you would like me to answer live, please post your question into the Google form, again, in the description box below. The reason for this is that the live chat gets really busy at times, and it's very difficult for me to answer the questions there because I will not see them. However, if you post your question into the Google form, I will get them here on the computer in front of me, and I will be able to go through them one by one in the order that they come in. I currently don't have that many questions in the form right now, so if you post your question into the form right now, this minute, there's a very high chance of me being able to answer your questions live in just a moment. Talking of which, the next question in the form comes from Scarlett from Bolivia, Scarlett Cano. And Scarlett is a regular on the channel. Awesome to have you here again. And Scarlett is applying to the University of Tampere and Aalto University to do a master's in business and specifically a degree in marketing. Nice. And the question/comment is, hey Oliver, what's up? What channels or YouTubers do you recommend to study better? I did a similar question before, but somehow I lost the channels you recommended before. I just remember you recommending Ali Abdaal. So if you can recommend some more, I'd be really thankful. Great question. Yeah, I actually do remember this. So what Scarlett is talking about is maybe a few weeks ago in one of the live streams, I actually recommended a bunch of YouTubers who are specializing in productivity, and they have a lot of really cool tools and tips that they show to or teach to their audiences. And the first one, again, as Scarlett mentioned, is Ali Abdaal. Ali is a Cambridge University educated medical doctor or medical student, and he has incredible videos about productivity, and I've learned a ton from Ali. We're approximately the same age, and but however, Ali is just brilliant in all things productivity. And he, for example, he does live streams where people join in and work together with him for 4 hours, and people just study together. The second person that I did recommend was let me see. Just a moment. I need to try to remember. Oh, just a moment. I need to think for a second. The second YouTuber that I recommended the last time was Thomas Frank. How did I forget Thomas? So Thomas Frank is another YouTuber from whom I've learned so much about productivity, especially productivity tools. So if you, for example, want to learn how to use different productivity tools, like time management tools, etc., Thomas is your guy. He has excellent content, especially on a software called Notion, for a note taking and productivity, and I highly recommend you actually checking him out. Again, I've learned a ton, and especially if you're new or a new student, I recommend that you start learning how to use Notion with Thomas as fast as possible, because that will help you so much with your studies. I only learned about Thomas and Ali during my 5th or 6th year, so my basically final years, so I didn't get the benefit of using their brain power during my studies, which is a real shame, because I know that I would have done better if I were able to actually use them. Anyway, the next question comes from Eray from Bulgaria, and Eray is interested in doing a master's in changing education or educational sciences, nice, at a university in Helsinki, or the University of Helsinki, or the University of Jyväskylä. And the question is, does the Finnish government or universities in general offer scholarships or loans for EU citizens who are not financially stable and can't afford to live there? Again, okay, so we got this before. Again, unfortunately, no. The Finnish government / the universities do not offer any kind of scholarships or financial support for European Union citizens. Only scholarships in Finland are only for non-European Union and non-European economic area citizens, including Switzerland. The next question comes from Dutech from the US&A, and Dutech has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in doing a bachelor's in information technology. And the question is, Moi, back to you. What's up? Will I need specific work experience to help me in the costs associated with various costs of living while studying? So basically, do I need to get actually, I'm not quite sure what you mean with the question. So what I would think about is, or think of this question is whether or not you need specific work experience in order to get a part-time job in Finland to help you with paying the different living costs. Not necessarily, no. However, if you want to work in your own field, then in that case, yes. But if you want to, but on the other hand, if you're fine with any kind of work, for example, basic level service level jobs like working as a cashier or clerk at a store, maybe working in a lunch restaurant, or as a barista, or that's not a low level job, but any kind of these basic level jobs, you don't necessarily need any kind of specific work experience. However, if you want to work in your field, which is IT, then yeah, definitely you need to have at least some kind of work experience in your field. The good rule of thumb is the more specialized you are, and the more rare your skills are. In your case, that would be the more specific and more rare the programming languages that you know, the better. Because of course, having a rare skill makes you more desirable on the job market. So being able to just program something on Java or JavaScript is not anything that rare, because Java and JavaScript are such common programming languages. However, being able to code or do anything in cloud computing or mobile development or like Android or iOS, or for example, knowing how to code with Swift, which is Apple's own coding language, those are very, very highly appreciated languages. So yeah, try to develop special skills that other people don't have. That will make you more desirable on the job market. The next question comes from Justin, not sure how to pronounce that, the J in Danish. Justin or Justin. Anyway, Justin comes from Denmark and is applying to do a bachelor's in the economic sphere, so in economics in general, in the next application period. Nice. And the question is, hey, what do I do if I haven't passed the entrance exam? That's a good question. I'm not sure what entrance exam you're talking about. Depends on the exam itself. So if you have done an entrance exam into a Finnish school, for example, a University of Applied Sciences, well, in that case, you need to reapply next year. However, if that's not the case and you're talking about some kind of another entrance exam, please could you elaborate a bit more, for example, in the chat or again in the forum, and I will be able to give you a more detailed answer. DoTech, thank you so much for the $2 super chat or super sticker. Hey, back to you. Hope you're getting value out of the stream. That $2 is going straight into my espresso / cappuccino / coffee bank or piggy bank. I'm definitely going to need coffee tomorrow. A lot to do. I really appreciate it. By the way, talking of which, guys, if you're getting value out of this stream and value out of the content that I publish on the channel in general, it would be really, really awesome if you could hit or slightly touch the like button. We're currently in 21 likes, and if we were able to get to 30 likes before the end of the stream, that would be awesome. Again, DoTech, really appreciate you and the super sticker. Thank you so much. Yevgeny asking in the chat, Oliver, do Finnish authorities require COVID tests if a person already has COVID and has had a successful COVID antibody test? That's a good question, Yevgeny. I will not, unfortunately, comment on this matter because I do not have the most up-to-date information. In addition, the information and the situation changes every single day. So I will refrain from commenting on any, questions relating to the policies around COVID. I can comment on the overall situation and my feelings about it. However, what I would do, or what I advise everyone to do, is to go to the website yths.fi/en. I'm sorry. No, sorry, that's wrong. I'm blacking out all the time today. What's wrong with me? My brain is hurting. There you are. Completely wrong webpage. So go to the website thl.fi/en. That's the website for the Finnish Institute of Health and Welfare, which is the Finnish government's our National Institute of Welfare, and they are the official governmental body commenting and giving advice and the rulings for all things COVID. They have the most up-to-date information. They update the website every single day. They have a telephone number that you can call for counseling, and they also gather all the information, for example, from the border guard, which controls the immigration or border itself. In addition, they have all the information about traveling to Finland or from Finland, and all the information about different restrictions from different countries, etc. So please go to thl.fi/en, and from that front page, you can easily navigate. You can easily navigate to the COVID web page that they have right here. So yeah, the Finnish Institute for Health and Welfare, they give all the official instructions for COVID. In terms of COVID, I cannot comment on any of the policies here because people watch this stream in replay a week, 2 weeks, a month from now, and I don't want them to get wrong information at that point. Cool. Thomas, Ansti, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Hey, Alexi, what's up? Alexi himself, hello. Hey, my man. Nice rapper / hip hop style, Oliver. Yeah, I was just talking about it. I'm having the worst hair day possible, and I found this beanie at the office, and I had to put it on because this really would have sucked otherwise. So thank you for the €5 super chat. I will buy a coffee tomorrow morning. I'm going to need it. I'm going to jump back to work, working on my thesis. It's almost done. Just need a bit more work on it. So that's really appreciated. If any one of you do not know Alexi, Alexi is the OG on YouTube on talking about Finland and Finnish culture. So if you're interested in learning about, the Finnish culture, habits, what to know about Finland before you actually move here as a student, go and check out Alex's channel. Make sure to subscribe and, go through his entire catalog. He has a lot of really, really interesting videos, for example, about dating Finnish girls and guys. So that's something that you really need to check out. Thomas saying, go see her YouTube. I'm sorry. This is really insightful social media advice. Your videos is totally like content from Ali or Adi. I'm from Adi. She's an expert in the automation tool Jarvi, and that's why they call her Dr. Jarvi. Cool. I've actually never heard of Adi before, but Thomas saying that go see her YouTube channel and give social media expert a follow over there. Adi Jarvi's success. All right. Cool. If you want to go and check her out, that's totally fine. I've actually never been there myself, but sounds really nice. Cool. All right. So the next question in the form comes from Sumir from India, and Sumir is applying to do a bachelor's in nursing in the next application period. And the comment / question is, thanks Oliver for answering my previous question. You're welcome. I have one more for you. Keep them coming. This is why we're here. As Finland has 2 national languages, which are Finnish and Swedish, that's correct. Out of them, which language would you suggest learning in order to get a good job? Everyone's saying that Swedish is quite a bit easier to learn for English speakers. Great question. Good comment. Let me deconstruct this here. So you're absolutely correct in saying that Finland has 2 official languages, Finnish and Swedish. This is due to historical reasons, and we do have a lot of Swedish Finns who basically speak Swedish and Finnish as their native tongues. However, you have to take into account that Swedish is a minority language in Finland, and even though it's a official language, meaning that all the road signs, all the governmental websites, etc., for example, product prices in stores are mostly in Swedish. This does not mean that everyone in Finland speaks Swedish. Again, it's a minority language, and the majority of Finnish people do not speak Swedish, or at least they do not speak fluent Swedish. For example, I learned Swedish when I was in school, primary, and secondary school. However, I do not speak Swedish anymore. And in terms of work and the job market, you definitely need to learn Finnish over Swedish. Swedish will not help you on its own in this Finnish job market. Because again, it's a minority language, and the majority of consumers or customers who you will be in contact with will not be able to communicate back to you in Swedish. The same goes to your colleagues. So if you apply for a job in a Finnish company, the majority of your colleagues will not be speaking Swedish, and the official working language in Finland in the clear majority of companies is either Finnish or English. So Swedish is very rarely used as a business language, unless you're specifically have two people who are from Swedish-Finnish backgrounds. Or right. If we look at this geographically a bit more, if you're interested, Swedish is spoken mostly, again, it's a national official language in Finland. However, Swedish is spoken mostly on the west coast right here. For example, in the city of Vaasa, you have a lot of Swedish-speaking Finns. Again, all of them basically speak Finnish as well. However, there's the majority of Swedish-speaking Finns live on the western coast. So if you, for example, want to work in Vaasa, then in that case, Swedish is going to be very useful. However, if you live anywhere else in Finland, Finnish is the way to go because it's the more common language. And actually, Evgenia asking, building on top of this, why isn't the Sami language not an official language? I do not know. That's a good question. So what Evgenia is talking about is in northern Finland, we have in northern Finland, in northern parts of Sweden and Norway, we have a indigenous part of the countries are called Sami people, and Sami people are basically they're all indigenous people from the northern parts of Scandinavia, and they have their own language, which is the Sami language. Unfortunately, it's also slowly starting to die away, which is a real big shame. It has multiple historical reasons. I don't want to go to those because there are also political reasons. However, the question about why isn't the Sami language an official language, I think that's a political question, and I do not know the backstory about that. But that's a very good, interesting question. I might actually look into it a bit more in the future. Anyway, the next question comes from Vishnu from Sri Lanka. And Vishnu is applying to do a bachelor's in engineering and sustainability in Arkkada University of Applied Sciences. And the question is Arkkada University of Applied Sciences a good university? Arkkada University of Applied Sciences is a good university. That's your answer. However, here, to be more specific, a university and a University of Applied Sciences, there are two different things, and there's a few differentiating factors there. So, for example, in a University of Applied Sciences, you usually only do a bachelor's degree. You're also able to do a master's degree there if you want to. However, you have to accumulate 2 years of work experience in your field after your bachelor's before you are allowed to apply for a master's program in a University of Applied Sciences. Meanwhile, if you study in a university, you can move directly from your bachelor's into your master's without having to accumulate any kind of work experience in between. Secondly, universities are more theoretical and they base their curriculum on research done at the university. However, universities of applied sciences are more practical and more professionally oriented. So usually you learn a specific profession, into a specific profession, for example, nursing or accounting or something like this. However, if you, for example, study accounting at a university, you can do basically anything you want afterwards in business. You can become a CEO, you can become a auditor, you can become a controller, a financial expert, investor. However, if you have a bachelor's degree from a University of Applied Sciences in accounting, you will most likely work as an accountant at least for the first few years. But yeah, Arkkara is a good school. Definitely recommended if that's something you're interested in. Just Roman asking in the chat, iltapäivä, good afternoon, or in my case, good evening. Olen italialainen. He's saying that he's Italian. Awesome. Do you think it's possible to live in Helsinki working as a personal trainer? Depends. If you're a really good personal trainer and if you have certification, if you have a degree in personal training, then definitely yes. Also, if you have a specific specialization, for example, if you are specialized in soccer or in a different sport, then you will definitely have more opportunities to work in Finland. However, if you don't have a degree / a educational background in personal training, then you might struggle quite a bit in finding work, because it's not necessarily because it's the field is that regulated. However, in Finland, there are certain standards that you need to fill in, basically, I would say. Just Roman, also thank you so much for the super sticker. Awesome. 1 VP. That's awesome. Thanks so much for the super sticker. And Yevgenia saying, Roman, please use the Google form for questions, but actually Roman posted the super sticker, so that's totally fine, and your questions will be prioritized when you use the super chat or the super sticker. So really appreciate it. Cool. One more drink. Quick drink, and let's after that jump into the next question. By the way, let me know in the chat, what are you drinking, if you're drinking something? I'm drinking juice. Today, usually I drink water, but this time it's juice, and this is a pint, but it's not Guinness, it's not beer or alcohol, any type of alcohol, just, a disclaimer. If the Finnish marketing regulator is watching, this is not alcohol, it's juice. That's growing into a bit of an inside joke, because in Finland we have very strict marketing laws about when it comes to alcohol. So, disclaimer: it's just juice, it's not beer. Cool. The next question comes from Faisal Hafez, and Faisal is from Pakistan and applying to do a master's in industrial engineering and management at the University of Tampere. Nice. Joan, no, it's not vodka, it's juice. Disclaimer, it's juice. Just kidding, I'm underage. Right, it's juice. Don't worry about it. It's not vodka or anything else. It's juice. Anyhow, Faisal is applying to do a master's in industrial engineering and management at the University of Tampere. And the question is, I've already completed my master's in, which is a research-based, cool, and applied for another master's program at Tampere and LUT University. I don't know if already having a master's degree will affect my application or not. Could you discuss this a bit? Sure. To my knowledge, again, disclaimer, I have no experience in processing, excuse me, I have no experience in processing university applications, nor do I have any insider information on what kind of things are emphasized in terms of university applications. So just take this into account. However, according to what I have heard and according to experiences that my friends have, having a prior master's degree is actually going to help you. The reason here is simply that many universities in Finland appreciate academic success and prior academic record. Also, universities in Finland, of course, they want to get as good or the best applicants to to study there as possible. This means that you need to be able to distinguish yourself from the pack, and having a prior master's, especially if it's research-based, is going to be, in my book, would be a positive. Again, I'm not a university employee, nor is this an official statement from any kind of a university. However, for example, a good friend of mine who studied with me at the School of Business, and he has a master's in economics. He actually applied to study a second degree at the University of Helsinki, a master's degree, and he actually got in on the first try. He's a brilliant dude, so it's not about his brain power, but he also, the program that he applied to only has a very small amount of people taken in every single year. And in my understanding, him having already a prior master's degree or a prior degree in general did help him in the admission. So I would say that absolutely not. It should not have any negative impact on your application. That would be crazy. However, my gut feeling would say that it's positive, but again, I cannot say for 100% sure because this is not public information. Hopefully that gave you a bit of context and kind of my ideas, what I would think about if I were processing your applications. The next question comes from Mr. G, again from the USA. Welcome back to the channel and to the stream. Awesome to have you here again. And Mr. G, as we have discussed before, is about to apply for a bachelor's in business in the Arkkara University of Applied Sciences. And the question is, I will be attending Arkkara in Helsinki, and I was wondering if you had any recommendations on neighborhoods to live in, or if living close to campus is essential, or if there is a must live in neighborhood, or if there are any really, really good neighborhoods in Helsinki that you could recommend. I was wondering if you knew if I could share I was wondering also if you knew if I can share a HOAS apartment with my spouse or family member, or is it only for students? Great questions. Let's actually break this down because there's multiple things here. So let's start with the HOAS apartments because that's the easier question. So if you don't know what Mr. G is talking about, he's talking about HOAS apartments. So HOAS is basically the foundation for student housing in Helsinki, and they are one of the sponsors on the channel. # this stream is not sponsored. And they are actually a non-profit organization that build and maintain and rent out student apartments in the Helsinki region, and they are also the biggest student apartment provider in the Helsinki region, and I always recommend applying for their apartments. I still live in a HOAS apartment because my girlfriend is studying. And talking of which, to your question, can you share a HOAS apartment with your spouse or a family member? With a family member, if they're an adult, most likely not. However, with your spouse, yes. HOAS has specifically these family apartments, as you can see here. Family type apartments, which are specifically for people who are together. So you cannot apply for a family apartment unless you are spouses or a girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. And we actually live, me and my girlfriend, we actually live in a family apartment. And what are the rules for family apartments? Basically, as long as one of the tenants, both of you will sign tenant agreements. So as long as one of the tenants who has signed the agreement is a full-time student, as long that you can actually live there. So in my case, I'm about to graduate in a few weeks. However, my girlfriend still has a couple of years of studies left. So even though I will graduate, we will be allowed to stay in this family apartment because my girlfriend is still a full-time student. So what I would do in your case, Mr. G, I would actually apply for a family apartment from HOAS. And again, if we're talking about your family member, like your parents or your cousin, or someone who is not your spouse, then you will not be allowed to live in a family apartment. However, if we're, for example, talking about you and your child, then you can apply for any of the apartment types that they have. In terms of the different neighborhoods in the Helsinki area, there's a bunch of different areas that you can actually choose from. And there are so many really nice places. However, it depends a bit on your income level or your ability to pay rent. So for example, if we think about HOAS apartments, and again, if you look at Google Maps, Helsinki, this is basically Helsinki here. The border with the city of Espoo, which is here, and Helsinki goes around here. Here is the Aalto University Otaniemi campus. And if we look at the Arkkada is here. So that's in Toukola, or next to it. So quite close to the center of Helsinki. So there are a bunch of different neighborhoods in the center of Helsinki, which are really, really nice. For example, Vallila here is really nice. Alppila is really nice. Kallio is a bit of a hipster place. It used to be be a neighborhood for how do you say? Middle to low income people, decades ago. However, nowadays it's a really hipster place. They have a lot of really cool small cafes, restaurants, a lot of students living there. Then, for example, the Jätkäsaari district here, it's a really, really nice place. It's growing. So it's actually the area is being built right now. Around half of it is not finished, but it's also quite expensive. Ullalinna, Katajanokka are some of the most expensive areas in Helsinki, and they don't have any student apartments there. However, then you have in the Otaniemi campus here at the Aalto University campus, you have student apartments there as well. You have student apartments in Kulosaari, which is a nice place. Meilahti as well, which is, you have the University of Helsinki campus for the medical school is actually here. Here. So there's a bunch of different neighborhoods that I would recommend. However, instead of talking about the neighborhoods themselves, what I would say that you should, when you apply for a student apartment, especially through HOAS, you actually don't, I don't recommend that you apply for a specific neighborhood, because that means that you will minimize the amount of apartments that you can be granted or given. And HOAS has a rule that if you don't accept an offer for a student apartment, you will not be allowed to apply during that, same academic year. Meaning that you should, accept whatever apartment you're offered, because again, if you decline the offer, then you will not get a student apartment for that year. So that's why I don't usually talk about neighborhoods that much. Sorry, everyone, a bit of a rant. Hopefully you got at least something out of it, especially if you're coming to Helsinki. Anyways, the next question comes from Sanad from Malaysia. And Sanad is applying to do a bachelor's in business. Not sure of the school yet, school as of now. And the question is, if healthcare costs money, then what is the use of high taxes? The use of high taxes is for healthcare, for a free healthcare for Finnish nationals and people who have permanent residency. So the healthcare system in Finland is not free for international people who do not have permanent residency or citizenship in Finland. That's why. But healthcare, public healthcare in Finland is free to use at the point of service. So when you go and get yourself fixed, whatever the problem, that is free at the point of service for Finnish nationals and permanent residents. What I was talking previously is that if you go and get yourself fixed in the private market, so we do have private hospitals as well as public hospitals, and what I was talking about before was the student healthcare service, so FSHS. That is a private hospital or private healthcare system because it's only for university students, and that is partly free, partly paid at the point of service. So comparing that to the private market, FSHS is super cheap. Of course, if you compare FSHS to the public service, the public healthcare system is free of charge at the point of service. However, the queues to specific procedures might be a bit longer. So yeah, plus high taxes, we get a lot of stuff in addition to the healthcare system in terms of our taxes. The entire education system is paid with the taxes. All the public services that we have, roads, infrastructure, everything is paid with taxes. So there's a lot that we actually get for our money. Cool. The next question comes from Aruna from Sri Lanka as well. And Aruna is not actually coming to school, but to work in Finland. And he is interested in working in the accounting and finance industry. And the question is, I have a chartered accountancy qualification and a bachelor's degree in accounting from Sri Lanka. Can I find a job in Finland? That's a good question. It's impossible for me to say. I'm sure that there are a bunch of accounting work, in Finland. For example, I work with two different accounting companies for my different businesses. So yes, definitely there is always work for good accountants in Finland. However, the thing is that getting a work permit to Finland without doing a degree here is a bit of a pain in the butt. So basically, in order to get a residence permit to work in Finland, you already need to have an offer on the table from a company. So in your case, what I would do is I would start looking for big accountant companies. For example, if you're interested, excuse me, one big company in terms of accounting is Accountor. And they go to their career pages. They have open, well, for example, here they have open positions. So let's see, we have, these are all Finnish. Let's see, business analyst, etc. Well, they don't apparently have any accounting jobs open right now, but they are a huge company. For a correction, they do have accounting jobs currently open, but they're in Finnish. So that means that their clients are Finnish speaking as well. However, of course, I would be looking at big accounting companies in Finland, reaching out to them directly and asking if they have any kind of positions for people coming from outside of Finland, and start working from there. I think that's your best option in this case. But yeah, definitely we do have a need for professional accountants in Finland all the time. Next question comes from Just Roman. Awesome. And again, as Just Roman mentioned, he's from Italy and coming to Finland for work and not school, and specifically in the field of sports. And actually, we got this before. So the question was, do you think it's possible to live in Finland working as a personal trainer? Right, so I answered this before, basically saying that if you have a degree / a certificate and you actually have work experience and you are actually proficient in what you do, yeah, sure. In addition, if you have a background in sports and you're specialized in specific sports like football or soccer, then that will increase your chances. But it's on top of anything else than that, it's really hard for me to say, because it depends on you personally. Again, even if you have a PhD degree from Harvard, that does not guarantee you a job if you A, don't know what you're doing, and B, if you are a D-bag and no one likes to work with you. So cool. Aruna, you're welcome. Hopefully that was helpful. The same with Faisal. Hopefully that was a helpful answer too as well. The next question comes from Muhammad El Faroul Zohair. And Muhammad comes from Morocco and is interested in doing a master's in biology, specifically in neurosciences. Nice, interesting. However, he has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in the University of Helsinki. And the question is, hey Oliver, thanks for your support. You're welcome. That's why I'm here. I'm asking if scholarships are possible to get. I'm sorry, I need to reread the question. My question is whether it's possible to get a scholarship as a normal, so an average student, rather as an average student, so not bad but not that great, or if or are they only for excellent or exceeding students, and specifically asking for the PhD application process. Interesting questions. Unfortunately, I cannot really comment any on either of these. I can say this much about these scholarships. Yes, they are only for the best applicants. However, what constitutes a best applicant depends on the year and the school. In terms of the University of Helsinki, you have to take into account that it's the best research university in Finland, which means that they have a lot of really, really good applicants each year. And I guess that the level of their students is pretty high, meaning that it also takes quite a lot to actually get a scholarship from them. However, it's impossible for me to say anything more about this because the minimum requirements for getting a scholarship is not public information, so I don't know. In terms of the PhD application process, unfortunately, I don't know anything about the PhD application process. I have no personal experience in it. I have never applied to a PhD position. My brother is doing his PhD, but we've never spoken about the PhD application process. So unfortunately, I cannot comment here. What I would recommend is that you contact the University of Helsinki and the Faculty of Neurosciences or the Faculty of Science directly and ask them specifically about the PhD application process. I would not ask them about the scholarships because they will not be able to, they're not allowed to give you any more information than what they have on the website because in Finland, it's in the law that every single student or applicant has to have equal opportunity in getting a scholarship and to get into school. And it's actually illegal for them to give any advice to students individually on top of what they have, as public information. So take this into account. The next question comes from Rohan from India. And Rohan is applying for a master's in tourism at the University of Eastern Finland. And the question is it practical enough for non-European Union students to pursue doctoral studies in Finland upon completion of their master's? PhD in a Finnish university. That depends on what you mean what do you mean in terms of practicality? It depends on your definition of practicality. Is it practical enough for non-European Union students to pursue doctoral studies? So is it easy? Is it, do you get an opportunity to actually pursue a PhD? Definitely. Is it practical? I would guess so, especially if you have done a master's in Finland. Yeah, definitely. If you do well enough in your studies, a lot of universities actually ask for specific students to apply for their PhDs if they show really good academic rigor, or they suggest that they apply for the PhD positions. So yeah, definitely. If you have already done a master's in Finland, it's definitely more practical than if you to apply for PhDs in Finland compared to if you have done a master's abroad. Again, because it's easier for them to assess your academic capabilities, especially if you apply to do your PhD in the same university, because your professors will already know you personally. They will know your academic capabilities. So I would say, yeah, it's more practical, or it's practical. All right. The next question comes from from Sakura, again from Sri Lanka. And again, Sakura is applying for a master's in changing education at the University of Helsinki. And the question is, what will be the job opportunities after completing a master's degree related to education? What will be the qualification requirements to become a teacher in Finland? And is there any specific exams to earn that qualification? Good question, or great questions actually. Unfortunately, I don't remember the exact qualification requirements for being a teacher. This depends a bit on what schools you're applying to. So if you want to become a primary school teacher or a teacher in middle school or in high school in Finland, you need to have a master's degree in education. However, I do not remember which specific degrees qualify you to become a specific type of teacher. So, for example, if you want to become a teacher in a primary school, I think that you need a specific degree in early education. However, if you want to become a teacher in high school / university, that might be a bit of a different thing. Of course, if you want to teach a specific research topic or subject in universities, you need to have a PhD in that field. However, if you, for example, want to teach languages at the university level, you don't have to have a PhD. So I don't remember I actually tried to look this up, but the system is pretty complicated, and I actually didn't get it, that much out of it, even though I tried to look up the information. So what I recommend you to do is to contact the Finnish. No, never mind. I don't recommend anything because I'm not quite sure where to start looking. So unfortunately, I have to leave this here because I don't have the information. I can try to look this information up for next week, and if you want to ask the question again, hopefully I will have more information, but I cannot promise because I've already tried to look into this, but I didn't find the information there. So sorry for not being able to give you any more. Arjuna saying that I haven't seen any info of students that have actually been awarded a scholarship from a Finnish university. Are they even allowed to share that info online? I'm pretty sure that they are. Again, the thing is that they will most likely not get any kind of they will not get any kind of qualification spreadsheet or point spreadsheet or anything like this that would allow them to share information of the reasons why they got the scholarships. What I understood is that they simply get a letter of admission, and in the letter of admission it says that you have been granted a scholarship. Congratulations. So people who have gotten scholarships for Finnish universities, they don't know the reasons or they don't know the minimum requirements either, so they cannot share the information. And this is why I warn everyone always to be aware of the fact that if you read, for example, on Reddit or any kind of forums, or if any YouTubers tell you that, okay, the minimum requirements for this university for this scholarship is this, unless that is explicitly explained like that on the university website, they don't know what they're talking about, or they're simply lying, because the minimum requirements for the scholarships are not public information unless the university has specifically publicized the minimum requirements. Again, they don't have to do it. So that is the reason why you normally don't find any kind of information anywhere. So the next question comes from Just Roman, again, from Italy. And the question is, Moi, do you think it's possible to live in Helsinki working as a personal trainee? Already got that. Mr. G is next, again from the USA, and saying that if everything goes well, I plan on beginning my studies in Helsinki in August. Awesome. And that was again in business, doing the degree at Arkada University of Applied Sciences. I would really like to relocate my partner with me around the same time. They have a master's degree in chemistry and only speak English. How realistic do you think this will be within this time frame, in your opinion, for them to get a job and obtain a visa by August or December 2021? A really good question. I'm trying to figure out what I want to say here. I'm thinking about what to say here so that I don't discourage you, but I don't share any kind of false information. All right, I will say this: getting a visa or residence permit in Finland on the basis of work alone is currently quite difficult. Or it's not necessarily difficult, but the process takes a ridiculously long time. The good thing is that your partner has a master's degree, which helps a lot because highly educated people usually get their residence permit applications processed faster. Your partner only the fact that your partner only speaks English is not a problem because with their background in chemistry, you would most likely work in a multinational corporation, for example, as an example. There's a couple of companies that I really recommend. Or actually Neste Careers. So Neste is a actually government or national biochemical company, and they are a multinational company, and it's a massive employer. And I really recommend that you check them out. So neste.com and careers, and they have the application process here. And for example, they have a specific page for young professional, meaning that people who are in the early stages of their careers. And you can actually also check out the open positions. So I would really recommend your partner to check out the let's see open positions. Check out the open positions and start contacting them and actually start looking for a job right now. The reason being that you need to have, if you want to move to Finland with just the basis of a job, you need to have a valid job offer on table before you apply for that residence permit. However, also what you should check out is go to migri.fi/en and check out let's see, spouse. Family members. So if you are granted a residence permit for studies, your spouse and children can be granted a residence permit on the basis of family ties. So check this out because this might actually be an easier way to get a residence permit or a faster way compared to your partner applying for a residence permit on their own. However, the one thing that you need to take into account is that anyone who applies for a residence permit like this, they still have to secure the means of support, meaning that you have to have sufficient funds for you and your family to live in Finland. Your income can come, for example, from employment, a private enterprise, assets, or pensions. This is in terms of your partner. You have to be also able to have enough financial funds to support yourself during your studies. So check this out again. The Finnish Immigration Service, so migri, migri.fi/en, and then look for residence permits moving to Finland to be with a family member. So check this out as well. And about the jobs, Neste, again, a massive company, a really cool company. They specialize especially in sustainable biofuels. So that's really cool. All right. Excuse me. About the time frame, I would start working on this topic right now because you're going to be in a bit of a hurry at some point at least. Anyway, the next question comes from Kazi, again from Kazi Nadim Hossain, again from Bangladesh, and Kazi is applying for a bachelor's in Centria, University of Applied Sciences. And Kazi is saying, thanks a lot for answering my previous question. You're welcome. You can note that I am one of your regular views and also a member of your Discord group as well. Awesome. Glad to have you here. And I do remember you being in the streams regularly. So awesome to have you here as once again. Awesome to have you all the regulars on the channel. And Kazi is also saying that as you suggested me to contact with some business-related offices for part-time jobs, as I will study for ERP in Centria University of Applied Sciences. Can you suggest me some type of companies and their names where I can apply for these kinds of jobs? That's a good question. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think. That's a good question. I actually cannot because yours is a very specific field, and it of course depends on what kind of an ERP system you're studying. Of course, different companies are using different ERPs, for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. So it's a business solution. It's a business managing solution. So I would simply recommend looking, for example, at the big 5 companies. So the the big 4 consultants companies. The problem here is that the big 4 companies they're very selective in who they hire, but they are one of the good first bets that I would start contacting about this kind of jobs, and then try to build on top of it and try to figure out what kind of employers in Finland use the ERPs that you're studying. I cannot give any names because I would need to know more information, and I would actually need to do a bit of background research on the companies, which I cannot do here live. So unfortunately not. The next question comes again from Justine. Darn, I don't know how to pronounce the J in your name. If you want to tell me how to pronounce your name, is it Justin like in any Nordic languages, or Justine, Justin or Justin? Justin. What's name in Danish? I don't remember, but Justin would be how you pronounce it in Swedish. Justin. Anyway, Justin is from Denmark and interested in doing a bachelor's in economics. And he's saying that I took the online business exam and unfortunately I failed for reasons other than my own. Darn. All right, that's a real shame. That sucks. That sucks really bad. I'm sorry for you. That's something that I don't ever wish to anyone. For example, technical problems during the exams. That sucks. Anyways, for various reasons, I really want to study in Finland for my program. Are there universities that hold exams in the fall? Education in English. This depends so much on of course, the program that you're applying to. So, for example, if you think about, so if we're talking about entrance exams to English language business degree programs, so bachelor's, only universities of applied sciences have these kind of entrance exams for them, if we're talking about like school-specific entrance exams. However, first of all, Justin, if you're not a member of our Discord server, I really recommend that you actually join the Discord server. There's a link in the description box below. This also applies to everyone else. If you're not a member in our Discord server, in the server, we talk more about, studying, living, and working in Finland. And for example, I post updates about videos and upcoming live streams. And in general, we actually have a lot of really cool conversations about all of these topics. So Justin, join the Discord server, ask this question in one of the channels there, and I can give you a bit more context a bit later. And I would love to know what kind of schools you're actually applying to and what you're interested in doing. Because of course, I have a master's in economics soon, about to graduate, and so I can help you actually quite far in this topic. So what I would recommend you to do is, if you really want to build up a really good career in economics and in business in Finland and in the Nordics and maybe internationally, you should maybe aim for a university degree, meaning bachelor's and a master's. And in this case, you don't have to do an entrance exam. I'm using air quotes because I'm not sure which entrance exam you have to do. But for example, if you apply to study a business degree at Aalto University, where I've done my economics degree, you have to do the SATs. So the SATs are required to apply to Aalto School of Business. And Aalto University School of Business is the best business school in Finland, so I definitely recommend it. Hashtag not an ad, not sponsored. But so join the Discord server. Again, link in the description box below. Ask the same question in any of the channels, and I will, give you a bit more context and ask you more specific questions to get context myself, and then I can give you more information on top of that. Cool. The next question comes from Bhargav. It's really difficult for me to pronounce the BH combinations. Bhargav, I guess, from India, and Bhargav has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in doing a master's in mechanical engineering. And Bhargav is saying, "Hi Oliver, hope you're doing great. Thank you. I'm actually doing really, really well. I'm pursuing my bachelor's in mechanical engineering, and I would like to pursue my master's in that field as well. Would you like to tell me about the opportunities for job opportunities in terms of the field of mechanical engineering? Moreover, suggest some of the good companies that I could apply to." Dude, there's so many different companies that you can apply to. There's massive multinational corporations. There's small startups. Finland is a country of engineers, basically. This country was built by engineers, and there's hundreds of companies that you can apply to as a mechanical engineer. So I simply cannot give you a list in the channel. Where I don't know even where to begin. There's so many different, well-known companies. There's also a lot of small companies. But, just to give you an example, actually, I'm working in a startup of my own. So I'm actually a founder of a technology startup. And the mechanical engineer in our team is actually of Mexican descent. He came to Finland to do his studies here, and he has done his bachelor's and master's in Finland, and he's working as a mechanical engineer in a Finnish company, and he's doing really well. So there's absolutely a lot of job opportunities in mechanical engineering. What specific job you will do and what your title will be, hard to say, depends on what you want to do. But you can work in the back office, in design, or in the whatever you guys do. I don't understand engineering myself, but it's hard for me to mention specific companies because there's so many, but there's definitely opportunities there. Yeah, absolutely. The next one comes also from Dutech, again from the US&A, and the comment here is to clarify my last question. Are there more entry-level jobs that do not require fluency in Finnish language? Well, good question. The way that you have formulated your question is a bit tricky because you asked, are there more entry-level jobs, I would read this in the sense, are there more entry-level jobs that do not require Finnish rather than the other way around? And in that case, the answer is no. There's more jobs in Finland, especially entry-level jobs that do require Finnish rather than, those that don't require Finnish. However, if you think about the field itself, chemistry, or these kind of hard sciences and chemistry, physics, engineering, all of these kind of fields, they are very international. And for example, in terms of the field of chemistry, most of the companies that, for example, I know that hire graduates in chemistry, they're all international corporations. Or for example, they work in renewables. They work in different, for example, in different fuel businesses like Neste. And there's one other company called ST1, which is a Finnish company focusing on biofuels. But then on the other hand, you could work for the pharmaceutical in the pharmaceuticals or in the healthcare industry, specifically in research. So, and all of these are international companies, and I would say that most of them are open to hire international people who do not speak a word of Finnish. However, of course, this depends on the job itself. So especially if you go more towards, research, back office jobs, those kind of jobs most often do not require Finnish because you are not in direct contact with consumers or customers. However, also in terms those kind of jobs tend to have more international teams in general. However, if you apply for a position that requires you to be in contact with consumers / customers, / if you apply for a position where most of the team is Finnish, then those kind of jobs usually require you to speak at least some Finnish. However, again, the more specialized you are, the less likely it is that you need Finnish. So this is kind of the overall take on the topic. Of course, I would say that the further in your career you get, especially if you're in a specialized field like chemistry, the less and less you need Finnish language skills. However, specifically to your question, are there more entry-level jobs that do not require fluency in Finnish rather than those that don't require Finnish? The direct answer here is no, or the simplified answer is no. But I hope this gave you a bit of context to the question. Cool. Next questions come from Kazi again, Kazi Nadim Hossain, and there's a couple of here. So let me see. The first one is, which language should I learn for living, job, daily life, buying and selling before arriving in Kokkola? Finnish or Swedish? Finnish. As simple as that, Finnish. Swedish, even though it's an official language in Finland, it's a minority language, and the majority of Finnish people do not speak Swedish. So it will not help you that much in your day-to-day life. So Finnish, absolutely. Second question is, if you can please tell briefly about different food habits in Finland. Like what kind of foods and do we eat? Lunch, dinner, usually, what times? This is a very difficult question for me to answer. I would say that we use, because it's such a broad question, and of course we have a very diverse food palette here. Of course, since you come from Bangladesh, the food palette is going to be quite a bit different. Of course, however, you can always cook, things that you also eat in Bangladesh, because we have very, very good and diverse grocery stores. However, Finns love to eat a lot of fish. We eat quite a lot of meat, different kinds of meat, pork, cow. Sometimes in the winter, if you want something more special, reindeer. Fish is really common. Again, we use a lot of. We eat a lot of potato, for example. It's that's a bit of a cliche, but we do. And then what else? What else? Vegetables, different kinds, belong into the Finnish food palette a lot. Salads. So I would say that the Finns eat in general actually quite healthily. If you compare to, for example, to the United States, for example. However, you can basically do whatever you want, because we have such a good grocery and food market system in Finland that you can basically find whatever you need for whatever you want to eat. So, but yeah, it's in general it's pretty difficult to summarize kind of the Finnish food palette. In terms of lunch and dinner, in terms of when do we eat lunch and dinner, especially students, and if you're working, usually we eat lunch quite early, so usually starting from 11, and late lunch is at 1. 11, 12, you can see that lunch places are full at that time. Dinner, we usually eat around 4 to 6 maybe. Some people might eat later, but for example, some in some countries in Central Europe, you eat dinner at 8, 9. Usually we don't do it that late, but rather a couple of hours earlier. The same goes for restaurants. You can always go for dinner quite late, so 9, 8. However, it's quite normal in Finland to go for dinner at 5 in a restaurant. Then there was one more question about, or tell me something about the traditional or cultural or national occasions in Finland. There's so many. Let me just get you a list. So let me just see. All right, so actually let's use Wikipedia here because I think this is a good list. So in Finland, we have many of our public holidays actually stem from the Christian tradition. However, they are not Christian holidays anymore, mostly. They simply, the background for many of the public holidays come from the Christian tradition or northern traditions. So of course, New Year's Eve is important to everyone. It's just, party. There's nothing that specific there. Loppiainen or Epiphany, 6th of January, is a public holiday. It again comes from the Christian traditions. However, it's just a public holiday nowadays. There's nothing special, Christian about it. In that case, same with Good Friday, Easter Sunday. They are public holidays. However, we usually have a Easter holiday. So, for example, kids in school have a Easter holiday during which, for example, a lot of families go to Lapland to ski. So it's a popular skiing holiday week or Eastern week. Super important, Vappu or the May Day, the 1st of May, it's basically a 2-day celebration. Super important, especially for students. It's basically the most important celebration of the year for students. During May or the May Day, we celebrate the start of the summer, basically, and the end of the winter. And it's a really, really important celebration. And we basically just go and have picnics around the country. We have massive parades. It's basically just a carnival, to summarize. Then a couple of public holidays. Again, there's nothing that special here. Ascension Day, Pentecost Sunday, again from the Christian traditions. Nothing Christian about them nowadays, but they're just holidays. Then super important in Finland, also in the other Nordic nations as well. Midsummer Eve is Midsummer Eve and Midsummer Day, they're very important holidays in Finland. These are some of the most the longest days in the summer as well. So the sun is up the longest during a couple of these days. And basically during midsummer, all the cities in Finland empty out. People go to their cabins to the outside of the city and just go and spend time with their lakeside cabins and cottages and just relax and there's nothing happens in the there's a couple of dance parties maybe in the cities, but you can basically in the Midsummer Eve in Helsinki you can actually walk in the middle of the biggest street in Helsinki and there's no cars, which is kind of cool. Again, a couple of other one more public holiday, All Saints Day, nothing, again, special there. Independence Day, the 6th of December, very important to Finns. It's how we celebrate this is usually we go and visit the graves or the graveyards and lay flowers and torches, especially on the graves of those who fell during the Second World War, which was very important for us, and it's basically just a day to calm down and sit down. And then one really weird thing is that Finnish people watch the presidential Independence Day celebration, where they invite a lot of celebrities and policymakers into the presidential residence to have a party, and that is broadcasted live, and we actually watch we watch live on the TV when they, celebrate. And that's a tradition in Finland that I've never understood myself. Christmas is very important in Finland. So we celebrate Christmas like in the Western countries. So specifically Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. And that's basically it. So those are the most important holidays in Finland that I would mention. Cool. Then the next question comes from Steve from Poland. What's up, Steve? Welcome back to the stream. And Steve has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in doing a degree in sciences. And the question is, hey, do you know how many Hi, do you know how many category A and B scholarships Aalto University grants per year or per program? Do you think their admission services can shed some light on that? No, most likely not. At least I do not have any information on this. I have not found any information publicly on this, and most likely if you ask them, they will tell you that they cannot share this information with you. Again, it's not public information unless it's on their website. So yeah, unfortunately, no. The next question comes from Celine from Turkey, and Celine is applying to do a bachelor's in medicine at the University of Helsinki or Turku in the next application period. And the question is, hey Oliver, what is the percentage of foreign students and foreign doctors in medical schools in Finland? And when I graduate from any med school in Finland, can I work in all Nordic or European countries without doing any kind of other certificates? Again, here, this is a very specific question about a very specific field. Roy, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Awesome to have you here again. Anyway, so Celine, to your question, I do not know for certain, whether or not you can work in all Nordic or European countries with a medical degree from Finland, but my understanding is that no, you cannot. You still need to have get certified in other countries as well. So that is my understanding. It might depend on the speciality that you have and on the country, but my understanding is that you still need to be certified. Again, please check this from each individual country's certification board. I do not know for this for sure. But then in terms of your question about the percentage of foreign students and foreign doctors in medical schools in Finland, about foreign doctors in medical schools, I have no idea. I've never seen any kind of information about this. About the foreign students in Finnish medical schools, my understanding is that it's very small, simply because there are not that many bachelor's degrees in medical sciences in Finland that you can do. I'm not sure if there are actually any, but my understanding is that there are at least not that many that you can do, simply because specifically becoming a doctor in Finland, I think that it requires you to speak Finnish, at least on B1 level, which means that you either need to learn Finnish before you apply or during school. Again, this depends on the school, and I don't know this for 100% certain. I've tried to look into it, but the information is a bit all over the place, even in Finnish, so I haven't been able to check this for certain. Roy saying, hattu on päällä, the hat is on. Onko se niin kylmä, LOL? Or is it so cold here? Actually, Roy, no, it's not that cold. I just had a bad hair day, so I decided to put on a beanie that I found at the office so that I don't feel like a complete troll while streaming. Cool. Actually, guys, I'm out of questions in the form, and we have gone for almost 2 hours, exactly 1 hour 58 minutes now. So I think that I will end the stream here for today. Again, apologies for the technical difficulties that we had at the beginning of the stream. Thanks for everyone who shared a super chat or super sticker. We're currently on 38 likes, so it would be awesome to get up to 40 likes before I actually officially end the stream. So if we can find 2 more likes, that would be awesome. Of course, if you have any more questions that you would have wanted to ask me, let me know and post the questions into the Google form. I will not go into any more questions today. However, if you post your question into the Google form today, I will begin next week's live stream with those questions. Again, next live stream will be a week from now on Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern European time. So that would be then the next opportunity for you to get your questions answered. Awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out. This was lovely as always. And thanks for all the really great questions. I hope that you guys got some value out of them. If you joined, midway, make sure to go all the way back and watch the entire stream in replay. There were a lot of really good questions that I answered, and I'm sure that they will give you some value even in the replay. Cool. But that's it. Thanks again for joining us, and